Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite Gimp with Limp, and I'm here with one last little addendum for the scatter terrain for Firstborn core space. There was one piece that I actually missed. I forgot to assemble this on camera for you guys. It's a little off, a little more difficult than some of the others, so I figured I'd run that real quick. Plus, I wanted to give you guys a little tip. Remember, they had the idea about marking the edges. I think it's a really good idea, and I started doing that myself. You can see I've gone ahead and marked the edges of these, and it fills in very nicely. It just gives it that nice finished look. But I've tried a couple of different types, and one type was the Sharpie, and then I've got the Crayola, right, marker, and they both work fine, right? It's really up to you, but what I have found is you get a better result, a little cleaner result with the Sharpie. But the Sharpie also does have the ability to mark on these in such a way that it's harder to get off. Like you can inadvertently mark up your pieces if you slip while you're coloring the edges, and you will, color them. So this will work better and is more likely that if you miss a spot, like mark on here, you can rub your finger on it and get that mark off of it. The Sharpie, you can do the same, but it's more likely that if you miss it while you're coloring in the edges and that spot gets left there, that it's going to be permanent. All right, so if you shake your hands or something like that and you're more worried about making a mistake, I'd probably go with something like the Crayola, which is less likely, more forgiving. But if you really want those clean edges, go with the Sharpie. It's going to give you the better effect, but if you make a mistake, it's very likely to be permanent. All right, so I got the pieces for the stasis pod set out here, and it is a little difficult, but not overly difficult because the pieces are directional. All right, so you can tell this is the inside of it, and the side that looks like that is the outside of it. So you can tell from looking at it, this is inside, inside, inside. So you can tell what direction they all need to be when they start folding in together. You're going to have a couple of armrest pieces, chair piece, the little headrest piece, and this one is the clamp that goes on the front once you start getting it all together, and it is also directional, so this part will match the inside of the stasis pod. This one is a door piece, kind of, and it will go on the front, but you're not going to be gluing this on. It just kind of covers it up. There is a little fold in it, just a little one, and until you know exactly how far you need to bend it, just give it a little crease, because you can always add to it later, but it's hard to take it off once you've already creased it. And again, you guys can see where I've already colored in the sides on it just to darken it up. All right, so with this, you can see if you, let me set it like that, see how it kind of cants a little bit? Right, so that's part of it. It's got like a little slope to it. And again, this is easy because they are directional. You can't put this on this side because this piece angles like so. And it keeps the inside to inside, outside to outside. So real easy to tell where they need to go. And then fold this in a little bit. So you see that's going to be looking just like that. And that's starting to create the inside of our chamber. We're going to do the same thing with this piece. And these two are different from each other because there is that little bit of a slope. So it's going to look like it's leaning, right, after you get it put together. But it's supposed to look that way. It's designed that way to not be kind of flush to the ground. Now you can come back, and I am going to come back after I get this assembled and glue these just right into the exact right position with the folds. Okay, so once you're here, you're looking at what you got to put on. This piece is going to be the front one that goes on here on the front, just like this, to hold it all together. But these seat pieces have to go in here first. Now, when you're looking at the back of it, you see how there's a couple of notches there, right? And then the brown in the center, that kind of aligns with this. So this piece is going to notch in there, right? There's a couple of notches on each side, and then it hits this little piece here at the back with that little tab. Now I think an easier way to do this though, because these are kind of the armrest pieces that go on here, is to go ahead and have these on there. So go ahead and put that where it needs to go, put this where it needs to go, and then slide it all together. And for some reason, one of them's a little tighter than the other, but it's not that big of a deal. And actually, to take that off, something I've been doing with mine is I've been coming back, because some of these fold over in half and some just fold over a little bit. Like you can see, there's just a little bit of a fold there, so you can't really see the inside of it, but there's a big fold here, so you can see the inside of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that before I put it in there. And that's simply gonna be coming in here with this, trying to match this up a little bit. Just like so. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it takes out that white, right? Looks good. I like that. So I've done that with a lot of different things that I have that fold over into whatever shape they do. If it's got at least a 90-degree fold into it, I've come back and marked in that crease. So you guys can see where I'm going with this, into the bottom pieces, and just push, and you'll feel that tab come through at the back. There we go. And you want to make sure that you push this in enough that that is open to be slid into. Need to push it a little more on this side. And yep, okay. So now you see we've got the inside of our little stasis pod going pretty good, actually, at this point. Now you can go ahead and add this piece now if you want to, but I think it'd be easier to put this to give it some stability. And we'll slide her on, just got to get her lined up in the exact right place. All right, once you get it started like that, you can set it down and push it in to position. And again, this one is directional. So the inside goes to the inside, outside goes to the outside. No having to worry about what is the front side, back side, any of that good stuff. So you can see this is now, I mean, for being something that's just slotted together, it's real good. I'm happy with this. So now we just have our little headrest piece here where the little Trueborn guy would go. All right. This is the top side of it. I'm going to have that facing up. It's the only piece that's really kind of dealer's choice, I guess you could say, in this whole thing. The rest of it is all directional. And it's going to go into that top notch. Okay. And you guys can see it notches in there at the back. Right. We got a couple of them notched in. And this is why I like to mark these before I assemble them, because it makes it a little bit easier than having to come back afterwards. But that's pretty much the piece done. You can see I didn't get the best crease there because that's still trying to fold over. So I'm definitely going to glue this back. But this piece is the door, and it goes right here just like that. So for gameplay purposes, you're not going to want to glue this on, because you can take it off and kind of fold it down, and there you go. Trueborn guy pops out and starts tearing up your pirates and going after him, all that good stuff. So this is one of the few pieces where you really can't glue it on there. I'm trying to think if there's a way I could hinge this somehow. And since these people are a hell of a lot smarter than me and they didn't come up with a way, I'm not sure that there's going to be. The only thing I could think is maybe taking a little piece of brown cardboard paper just to try to match it and gluing it, taping it, whatever, right there to kind of create a hinge, right, where these pieces are, just so I can keep this piece together so it can flop down like that. If I do come up with a good idea that works, I will make sure to share that with you guys. But this thing just looks great. Look at that, right? It's got the little seat in there, a little headrest. I mean, it looks just so good, right? So freaking good. I mean, the amazing stuff that they put out, and especially that idea of coloring in the side pieces just to take that white away, really just brings it all together. And like I said, I like coming in on these creases here. I'm probably going to do the same here just because there's just a little bit of white showing through there. Push that in a little bit, color it in, and then let it fold back out just to take away that little bit of a white. But that's going to look good. All right, so easy piece relatively to put together. It's just a little complex with the way all the seating works there in the inside of it, but you can't make a mistake as long as you keep the sides directional. All right, so the inside of the pod to the inside of the pod, outside to the outside, and it'll go together real easy for you guys. All right, but yeah, sorry I missed that. I should have had this one on part 2, so it'd all be one series, but I didn't want to leave out a piece that is rather complex, so I made a quick video to show you guys how this one goes together. We'll get the rest of this stuff put together and have some core space on the table very soon for you guys. Y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next one.